gun screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. The world's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth hits harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. This is and I'll bring the
What's up, guys? Happy Friday the 13th. I figured I'd be here right at the minute to introduce you to Friday the 13th. You know, why not? Why not stay up late? No, I just I haven't been meaning to do live so late, falling into a bad habit again, but family stuff going on. So you know how it is. This is unfortunately not my day job, but you know, a man can dream someday. But I'm still here, guys. I made it. We have plenty to get to tonight, so I was gonna show up all along. Man, we got Psyops left and right, up and down and all around to break through. This Iran thing has sent the deep state into a tizzy and it's all assets deployed. So we're going to be breaking some narratives tonight, showing some truth about what's actually going on so everybody can feel better. We got some wins going on. We got some Save Act updates and got to call out a couple of grifters. You know, we just got to do that as well. It's part of the show these days. But before we get started, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. I so appreciate your guys' support. If you're on X, hit that repost. That always helps. And if you got the magical hype button over here on YouTube, that helps me more than anything. So if you guys don't mind hitting that, I would be very happy. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into the Chizat. Say hey, and then we're going to get into it. What's up? Wago Waco, numero uno tonight. What's up, buddy? Blue 5, what's going on? Taya, what's up? US1, Vince Feliz with one eye open. That's all right, man. You can go to bed, buddy. I'll be here tomorrow. Unless you got something you got to put in the chat. You know, it's okay, buddy. Go to sleep. It's okay. You won't hurt my feelings. You need to get up early. Alice Fordown, what's up? Just Mike, what's up? Pat is here. Moody's up. Seth is up here as well. Cass Sink, Linda Goya, what's going on? Rum Dog, D6 Report, Ray Sandoval, and Trish is here. AK Downrange Anybody else? Nope, not yet. That's all right. Hit up the chat, guys, as much as you feel it. I'm going to do my best to get through here with plenty of energy. I do apologize right away. I'm a little tired. If you can't tell, it's been a long couple days, but still going to make it. I can tell by in the chat, everybody's half asleep, so maybe they won't even notice if I'm just a little off my game tonight. US1 asks, where's the 5 Republicans that can remove Thune? I don't think anybody's removing Thune anytime soon. However, by the Constitution, the vice president is officially the president of the Senate. So at any time, J.D. Vance could come and take over Senate leadership. Now, in modern times, the vice president's been given different duties. So, Trump might be using them somewhere else he really needs them. Or maybe they're holding that in their back pocket. He doesn't get a vote unless there's a tie constitutionally, but he is officially constitutionally the leader of the Senate. So we'll see what happens there. Not a fan of what tomorrow is. What's tomorrow? Ray Sandoval, how could a Niners fan be this smart? Well, man, we just had the best offseason of anybody, so be nice. Be nice. Thank you, guys. Fro Girl's sleepy, still here. Mike's old. That's okay, Mike. We still love you and your oldness. All right, but hey, I want to respect your guys' time since you're sleeping tonight. Let's jump into it, shall we? Got a few clips I want to play tonight because there's just good stuff up there, and we are going to start with one to set the tone of the night. Greg Gutfeld out there spitting straight fire today. So because of that, I'm going to honor him by playing this clip just to remind everybody where we're at and that there are plenty of patriots out there who still see it despite the massive psyops going on in the influencer and media world. Here's Greg.
I know you guys are being nice, but I don't have to be. Nothing Trump has done comes close to what the last administration did to our country. The Democrats installed a feeble puppet, and they knew it, and the world knew it. What did that do to us? We got 2 wars because of that. We had Russia-Ukraine, and then we had October 7th, because they knew that we were handicapped, that we'd lost our will and our way. And within our borders, it was even worse. We went through 4 years of a radical subversion of society through crime reform, illegal immigration. That also handicapped our will, and the world saw that too. They saw us eating ourselves alive, that somehow we were beginning to believe that we were the bad guy. We saw an incredible nation transition into a self-doubting basket case. That was in just 4 years when you had a missing president. So when people talk about a forever war now, we were on a forever road to war for 47 years. Every president, Biden included, kicked the can down the road. Instead, Trump, he likes to have a clear desk at the end of every day. You tell him, you can't do it, he's going to make sure he can.
I love that so much. We're just in a different era, guys. You know why some people don't understand Trump? Some people freak out about what we're seeing. It's because we've never seen it before. It's new. And it feels frightening because as Trump pushes and pushes and gets more done, it exposes more and more the ineptitude of other presidents, the unwillingness to challenge status quo, the unwillingness to do the hard thing, to keep kicking the can down the road. You can go down the line of what that can is, whether it's Iran, Social Security. I mean, all these messes we've had for decades, nobody's had the guts to deal with, and Trump just goes for it. And people, because they've gotten used to it, they've gotten used to just sitting in their filth, so to speak, and in the decay of our American society, they don't like the shakeup. We were kind of drugged into accepting our downward spiral because, at least on the way down, there was some booze, there was some sweets, there's some Netflix, whatever it was they were drugging us with. But Trump doesn't allow people to live in that. It's constantly, you could pretend with Barack Obama or President Bush or Clinton, even Reagan, you could pretend that there wasn't horrific things going on that need to be dealt with. You could kind of tune it out and just be like, they're dealing with stuff I don't need to. But Trump makes that impossible. He makes it where everything's politics now, but it's not his fault for doing that. The media is doing that. Everybody around the social media is doing that. But also Trump's being a man of action does that every day. It's something new. And it's so important to recognize that what we have now. And that's why I love this little clip from Greg, because he puts in a perfect perspective how far we just came from in just a year and a half. People complaining about Trump now that voted for him. For lack of a better word, sorry guys, but the retards who say they voted for Trump and didn't get what they voted for or didn't get change. And apparently they expected that on day one they'd come in and everything would be fine. Kind of like other presidents used to be able to pretend. But Trump can't pretend. It's not his nature. And we are blessed to have that, because it's going to be fixing things, even when they're uncomfortable, even when it's hard. But also, guys, the elephant in the room is that the big hard is that we're in a war. We've been in a war with Trump. Trump's been in this war since 2016. It's a war against the financial system. It's a war against the deep state. It's an intelligence war. It's an intellectual war. It's a financial war. And yes, we're seeing that sometimes it's a physical war as well. They had been winning the war for so long and so little pushback. So few people had fought back. So few people were awake, that now the fact that we're constantly in it and it's reached its apex and we're in the conflict now, and there's a climax and there's going to be an ending at some point. The big fight's going on and a lot of people are realizing they don't like it. And that's how it is throughout history. People didn't like the Revolutionary War. You know what they wanted to do instead of being free? Stay with Britain. Almost 70% of Americans would have preferred to not fight that war at the time. The colonists would have preferred slavery or being indentured servants, basically, to the greater empire instead of the uncomfortableness of freedom. Civil War, same thing. Many didn't want to fight that war. And yet, it's great leaders who led us through them. And thank God they did. Thank God for it. And that's what we're doing right now, guys. Leaders, presidents, especially are in democracies, are rarely popular when they're doing the hard stuff. So we're witnessing greatness. We're witnessing something incredible, and this is the time where the wheat is being sifted from the chaff. We're seeing the Psyops, the influencers come out, the media turning. Everybody who's picking a side has to pick their side now. There's no more in between. There's no more hiding. It's all coming out in the open. And so when we see somebody like Gutfeld, well, he's showing us that he's one of the real ones, and I appreciate him for that. Okay, let's move into where we're at in Iran, because there is so much nonsense being spewed out about Iran right now. And one of the things being spewed about Iran is that they had no plan when they went in. Like Trump just made a gut check and one day woke up and was like, I'm going to bomb Iran, with no plan whatsoever. Where the complete opposite is the truth. I mean, last year they took out Fordham, they took out their imminent nuclear capabilities, and then they watched and waited. What's Iran going to do next? And they prepared. You see, last summer, if we'd gone in, we weren't ready. The military needed more building up. We could not do a full-on assault. So we made our declaration. We showed Trump, prove to the world that he can get in and out and end stuff. And we stopped the imminent threat. Well, that threat kept building and building, but also they were planning for it. And here's Bill O'Reilly talking to Glenn Beck today. And I want you guys to listen to this. O'Reilly has some of the best sources out there. The guy is still killing it. They pushed him out of mainstream media. They pushed him out of Fox News because, yeah, he's kind of a jerk. But you know what? A lot of these guys are. That's not why he got kicked out. He got kicked out because he was a little too truthful. He hit a little bit too much on the nose. And he's still doing good work out there, even though he's old and his voice is failing him a little bit. But here he is on Glenn Beck with the insider story of what really got us to this point with Iran. And I want you guys to listen to this because you're not going to hear this almost anywhere else.
Or what we're doing, what is coming, and what it's going to mean.
Okay, so a big gamble by President Trump, a big dice roll. And he reached a period in time, in history, where the CIA, NSA, all of our intel jibed with the United Nations and said, look, we knocked out a lot of their nuclear capacity in June of last year, but they have satellites and are close to being able to put together 10 nuclear bombs, okay? 10. And so that intel came in, and that obviously got Trump's attention. So there was a massive discussion for months about, all right, what do we do? Because what the mullahs did was they decentralized their nuke-making capacity. They spread it out rather than having it in one place. So then Mossad went in and Netanyahu, and I don't think the Trump administration is going to mind me saying this, even though it hasn't been made public, but I'm a reporter and I have the information. So Mossad went in and said, look, on this Saturday, the Ayatollah and 25 of his thugs are going to be in this place at this time. So what do you want to do? Now, that was after 3 months of negotiations with the Iranians to stop their nuclear weapons program. And the last negotiation in Geneva, Switzerland, the foreign minister of Iran, walks in and says, you know what? We're not stopping. Blank you. We don't care what you say. We're not stopping. And Witkoff, our chief U.S. negotiator, had a report back to Trump. So that's the information Trump has. Number one, they're close to 10 bombs. Number two, they're all going to be drinking tea on Saturday morning in this spot. And number three, they're saying blank you to the U.S. government. They're not going to stop. That's how the decision was made. Now, ancillary, everybody knows the midterms are coming up.
So there it is. And I've covered a couple of those things on my show already, but that way at least you hear it all together and affirmed by Bill O'Reilly and his sources. But exactly, they basically, Iran was starting to flip the finger at us and say, we're not stopping. And watching what they're doing right now with all that has happened, the way we've taken out their leadership, the way we bombed them to hell, like taken out their entire Air Force, their entire Navy, and yet they're just going to keep doing every little thing they can. And by the way, I'm just going to say it again because it makes me laugh every time I think about it. It's not with hypersonic missiles that they're hiding and they're just getting ready to really unleash hell. No, it's with, Habib and Kamal getting in little fishermen's boats and kamikazing themselves with some TNT into boats. This is how pathetic they're at right now, the Iranians, and fighting back. But they're willing to do it because they're crazy. And the regime literally believes, martyrdom is something to embrace. And so they don't care if they die. They don't care how many people they kill. And what do you do with people like that? You can't make deals with these people because you can never trust them, because if they're just willing to die at any possibility, if they have no regard for human life, including their own, at least in Kim Jong-un over in North Korea, that guy just wants to live his own life and live it well. He's like, oh, I love being a dictator. I love oppressing people. I love being a terrible, horrible person. And I don't want to die. I just want to keep getting fatter and be a jerk. And he's horrible. I mean, North Korea is a horrible, abominable place. But Kim Jong-un is smart enough to know you don't poke the bear. He's like, I got my nuke and I'm going to leave it. I don't want to mess with anybody else. Leave me alone. Let me have my little island of whores. And that's what he is. It's a horrific place. It really is. But they're not a threat to anybody else. He's just like, leave me alone. But that's different than what we're dealing with here. These people are literally satanic in the fact that they just don't care. They just don't care. And Trump's trying to free the people. But anybody who thinks we can make a deal with these people, I was listening to Tim Pool, and he had Luke Rakowski on, and it's like, he's total lib guy. He's not as bad as like a Dave Smith or somebody, but he's still out there, and he's just so mad about this war. And he's like, oh man. And to his credit, he's not waffling on this. He's just any war always. He's a typical libertard, full on, just cannot ever justify any interactions at all. Always thinks that you just talk to people, everything will be fine. And we'd all be, ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, holding hands. That's what he believes. And so it's always like, well, obviously you didn't talk to them enough. Yeah. But it's like, there's no talking to these people. They will get the bomb, and then imagine what they will do with it. Maybe not even use it, but that doesn't matter, because whether they use it or not, once they get that nuclear bomb and an evil regime like this that doesn't care about human life, they can suddenly do whatever they want and know nobody's going to attack them. Nobody's ever going to stop them. You might put boundaries around them. You can sanction them, but they don't ever have to worry about being taken out of power. That's what having a nuke buys you. It buys you that security of your regime. And that, my friend, is what we could not allow Iran to have, because they are such an awful, the number one state sponsor of terror in the world, the one major destabilizer left in the Middle East, and of course, City of London. City of London wanted nothing more than for Iran to have nukes. Why do you think that all these nuke inspectors, whatever it is called, the IAEA or something like that, that goes into these places and is like, oh yeah, hey, show us around. Show us around, Habib. Show us what you got. Oh, wow, this nice little room over here is your nuke building room? Wow, well, sure doesn't look like you're building nukes to me. Looks like you're building energy. I'm going to go file a report with the UN. They don't look, they don't scour, they don't care. They let these countries lead them around as useful idiots. So when they file a report and everybody's like, the IAEA says that they don't have any nukes, it's like, yeah, because they don't even look. They let these people tell them exactly what's going on, and they just check it off. They're like, okay, look good. It's like if a social worker went to a house where children were being horrifically abused and all the children were in the basement, and they came in and were like, we've gotten reports. And the people were like, no children here. Look, here's my kitchen. Here's our bedroom. And the social worker's like, well, what about that door? Where's that go? Do you guys have a basement? They're like, oh yeah, we have a basement, but there's nothing down there. And they're like, okay, cool. And bug out. That's exactly how they inspect. That's exactly how they do it. And so you cannot trust anybody's word for it, except for our own intelligence that we get, especially because Trump, unlike Obama, unlike Bush, who are playing the game and who are puppets, Clinton, Bush 1, all these puppets we've had, Trump is like, I'm not playing the game. City of London, all dispersed throughout the EU, runs the nuclear inspectors. So of course they wanted Iran to have a nuke because Khomeini, as I showed you guys last night, full on bought and paid for in London, property empire in England, in the UK. That guy's got money coming out the wazoo, which makes no sense because this is a great enemy. I could tell you one thing, like, we're not letting the Ayatollah Khomeini have property empire here in the U.S. And my God, we even let the bin Ladens, not Osama himself, but his family have property in the U.S., be hanging out over in the U.S. during 9/11. So but we won't let the Khomeinis. That's how bad they are. But Britain, it's like, cool. What does that tell you? What's that tell you? City of London, man. And they wanted Iran to have that nuke because through Iran, they could funnel that money to the terrorist networks. Through Iran, they could run the Muslim Brotherhood. It's all through them. The roots are all there. They are the ones who want the Middle East destabilized. Keeps the bankers rolling those monies, guys. Keeps them going. So, Seth says they also have property in Canada. Well, that makes sense. The Commonwealth, run by City of London. I'm just telling you guys, it's unbelievable. You just can't make this stuff up once you see it. Rumdog asks, would I say Iran was the instability instigator for City of London? Yeah, absolutely. Well, in that region, for sure. 100%. And that region is extremely important to them because oil, it keeps the money flowing. But not only that, because the oil there is so important, by keeping it unstable, you could pretty much trigger war anytime you wanted to lure the U.S. back in. Anytime you wanted to steal money from the U.S., anytime you wanted to weaken the U.S., distract the U.S. Well, before Trump, we had to go in because we weren't pumping enough oil here. We were a net importer. Now we're a net exporter thanks to Trump. The prices are still affecting us right now because the global economy is still built on all that. But if we had to, if we absolutely had to at this point, we could shut off all import and we could just live on our own oil. It would take a little time and adjustment, but it's possible. And that's what Trump did. But Trump doesn't want that. He wants to keep it going. Keep it going, because if the oil's flowing everywhere and we're done with all this instability, we're done with all this puppeteering, this control, the financial system of City of London everywhere controlling everyone. If we're done with all that and all of a sudden there's not false caps on everything, people can just flow, capitalism can flow, well, oil prices are going to go way down. And watch, once this Iranian conflict is ended, which I still believe it'll end sooner than later, I don't see this going on more than a few more months. And by a few more months, I mean 2-3 tops. And I actually think it'll be done a lot sooner than that. I'm hedging my bets, let me put it that way. But there's no way this is still going by the midterms. And I still think much sooner than that, especially by what Trump's saying. And I trust Trump. People are like, I saw somebody in here who I already blocked because his comment was so idiotic. I just knew he was going to be blowing up the chat to just cause fights. But was like, how can you still trust this guy after all the lies he said and all the backtracking? I'm like, dude, anytime somebody tells me that Trump just nonstop backtracks, I know immediately they're either trolling or they're just coming from the other side, just trying to stir stuff up. Because nobody who's actually paid attention to Trump the last 10 years believes that even one bit. And that's why he still has 90% approval from his MAGA base, even when he does something like this. Because those people, the people who actually consider themselves MAGA, they've paid attention this whole time and they get it. So speaking of Trump, here's what he's saying right now. You know, the Supreme Leader, the new Supreme Leader released a message today. Of course, he didn't show his face. He just did a little written, a little note. Why? Because reports are that the guy's legs are blown off and he's in a coma. He doesn't even know he's leader, but yet they have to keep up the facade. it's important for their regime to have this supreme leader to show this strength. So here's Trump responding to the guy's message today.
Finally, we hear from the Supreme Leader in a long statement. We don't see him. He doesn't read the speech. They say he wrote the speech. First off, do you believe he's alive?
I think he probably is. I think he's damaged, but I think he's probably alive in some form. Yeah.
What's your takeaway? I know he says that he's going to widen the war. He's going to continue to use the Strait of Hormuz as leverage against you to end this war. He's got underwater drones to stop any of the ships going in and out. What's your message back to the new Supreme Leader?
Well, they've been doing a lot of talking, so he's going to have to put up. We'll have to see, because we are decimating them. We've knocked out most of their missiles. We've knocked out many of their drones. We knocked out a lot of the manufacturing areas where they manufacture the missiles and now the drones. We're hitting them harder than anybody's been hit since World War II.
Finally, we hear from the Supreme Leader.
You hear that at the end there? We've hit harder than anybody since World War II. That's funny. What did I tell you guys last night? I think it was last night. It might have been 2 nights ago. I said this is the largest onslaught from the air on anybody since World War II. And then Trump validates me again. Oh, I love being right. Listen, they have nothing of substance. They have nothing to go on. What they have is to endure. We're just going to try to frustrate you. And Iran's one play here is to try to stay alive just long enough, to try to be annoying just long enough that we quit. But here's the problem. They've never fought Donald Trump before. This is not the typical president who is going to slow things down, be like, okay, we unleashed hell. Now we're going to slow down and we're just going to do things a little bit here, a little bit there. We're going to see what they do. No, Trump is like, here's the line. And I'm going to just have to keep destroying you because you guys are still on the wrong side of that line. And that, my friends, is the difference. Everybody right now is freaking out. I listen to the news show so you don't have to. I check in with several voices out there. And many people who are even on the fence, who did not say, oh, this is Israel, blah, 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 who actually liked the initial strikes, who actually thought it was well done, are now starting to change their tune and starting to say, oh, I knew it. We're going to get stuck. We're done. They didn't plan for this. The Strait of Hormuz is going to ruin it for us. Trump was not ready. Are you kidding me? Hasn't even been 2 weeks. It's been 13 days. We're less than 2 weeks into this thing. And we're already saying we're stuck. Is that not one of the most retarded, stupidest analysis you've ever heard? I'm sorry. That's wild that people are already saying that. You know, when they started saying we were stuck in Iraq, after about 6 months, maybe even longer, the media gave Bush this huge long leash. You know when they started saying we were stuck in Libya or Syria under Obama? How about never? They never said it. How about Afghanistan? It was about 2 years before they started saying we were stuck and worrying about it. No, with Donald Trump, you get 12 days because it really started yesterday. You get 12 days before we're going to say, oh no, we're stuck in a long-term war. We're stuck. Oh my God. It's unbelievable the difference that this man goes through and how he's analyzed, how little rope he's given, how little leash he's given, even from those who liked him or liked the move at first. But it just goes to show you they cannot, even if their instinct is to say, oh, this is a good thing. Even if that's their instinct, eventually they have to play by the rules of that media establishment. They get their marching orders. And sometimes it's not direct. Sometimes they're just trusting the wrong people. And so it spreads. And even people I like are starting to say this. And I'm like, oh my God, I would do anything to get up there and just annihilate your case. But while everybody else is freaking out, the White House is having a little fun. Here's a little video they put out today about the war right now. And I gotta say, you know, I played I played competitive sports through high school and college. I've been business 20 years, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of competition is my point. And you know, the people laughing and having fun are usually the ones winning. Well, this is from the White House today. This social media team is so I'm jealous, honestly. I'm jealous watching this stuff. It's just too funny, man. And you know, they're not. This doesn't show me concern. It doesn't show me worry. It doesn't tell me, because here's what happens. Our White House, you know, it's the American president. We're the most powerful man in the world, right? We're not allowed to show concern, but we are supposed to be very serious, especially when things are hard. Be very serious. Well, if things were wrong, I'd expect at least a little bit of seriousness, but that's not what we're getting. Here's a great post breaking down where we're actually at today. So I'm going to go through this real quick. This guy's a great thinker. Says, I've gotten a lot of very uninformed replies today about how the U.S. can't do this because Iran will X, Y, or Z. This is childishly ignorant. Iran's been attacking Saudi oil industry with drones, rockets, ballistic missiles for years. They barely made a dent. It's all true. This is for the people who say that Iran's got some super secret weapon they're waiting to unleash upon us. Iran's been committing piracy against oil vessels in the Gulf Stream and Red Sea for years. Recent slow in OPEC is because storage capacity is filling up. It's filling up because the ships won't move. Ships won't move because they're scared. None of this is because of damage Iran can or has caused. Fear of the thing is worse than the thing itself. Estimates are Iran has placed less than 24 mines in the strait. Hazardous but not impassable. Ships are waiting because they're enormously expensive, and so is insurance. We're subsidizing it and have offered escorts, but risk assessments up to the captains, and they've decided to try and wait. You can't blame them. We're not mad at the ships, but come on. Eventually, they have to make a move. They'll move once clearing operation can proceed. By the way, if captains were worried about this becoming a protracted conflict, they wouldn't be staying in the Gulf. They have taken the offer for an escort and hauled ass. They're sitting tight because they expect this to be over soon. Great point. Even the damage at GCC oil facilities is essentially superficial. None of it substantially reducing output capacities. Iran's not holding back. Here's the key right here. Key paragraph for all the Iran's good is so tough out there, the Scott Ritters of the world. They're firing everything they can. This is what they can muster. They failed to mine the strait in time because Khomeini was too committed to his Chihuahua Act to pull the trigger. If he'd done so, it would have guaranteed destruction of his governmental system. By the time it became apparent that was the actual objective, he was dead, and no one was around to give the order. Now the IRGC's navy's either in port and tunnels or at the bottom of the Gulf. They may be rationing drones and missiles, but they aren't holding back a massive barrage where we cross a red line. Exactly. I've been saying this since the beginning. The red line was when we crossed it by bombing the snot out of them and taking out Ayatollah Khomeini on day one. That was the red line, folks. If Iran was going to blast us back, that was the red line. We killed the supreme leader. We killed the assembly of experts. We killed their commanders, sunk their ships, destroyed their planes, allegedly even blew up a school. They aren't holding back. There's no greater escalation on their part. No red line we haven't crossed. I implore you to have a measure of self-reflection awareness to know you don't know what you're talking about on this subject for the sake of your own dignity. The only thing restraining U.S. from returning Persia to a 19th century state is our own objectives and interests. There are reasons we may not want to do this. They're our own, and not something imposed by the non-existence resistance. 100%. And I'll tell you exactly what that is. Trump wants them to take over their own country. He wants the people to have this country. He doesn't want to take it over. He doesn't want a proxy state. He doesn't want to install their leadership. He wants the people to take it back. And he doesn't want civilian casualties. He is doing everything he can to play this as safe as he can. Americans come first, which is why we're bombing them and not going in, because the best way to not kill civilians is to go in on the ground, because you can be a little bit more safe and targeted when it's actually people seeing it. But bombing like this, we're doing it as effectively as we can. And Trump, he's already told us he's ready. We got what we need to send the country back 25 years, but he doesn't want to do that to the people unless they force him to. And so we need to be praying that the people get brave. There has been some promising reports, and I've shared them on this stream the last few nights, but we need to pray they get brave and they actually go through with it. Otherwise, we will end this in a way that's harder in general on the people, which we don't want to do. But Trump will put the American people first. He will. He'll put our future first. And this regime, they cannot stay in power because, A, we don't have all their uranium yet. We don't know that it's completely destroyed. So that's number one. And number two, we can't trust them to do what's right anymore at all. Like they can't. After this, they can no longer be allowed to sponsor terrorism. We've gone in. We've stamped our footprint on it. We cannot allow them to control oil in the Strait of Hormuz anymore. We just can't do it. We can't trust them at all. Not this government. So these are things that have to be dealt with. And even though I think Trump was hoping when he went in, and when I say he's hoping, I feel like they went in and they were like, there's 5 different scenarios we will accept to get out of this. And they were hoping maybe if this regime stayed in place, that they'd get a moderate to take over. But that's not going to happen. And he's given them time to prove it. But it's not going to happen. So just like in Venezuela when a moderate took over. So, but again, they don't have capabilities to hurt us. That's not what's happening. This is now them just trying to wait us out and see if we'll grow weary. Well, it's only been 13 days. And even if the media is starting to turn, even if the libertards are starting to turn, it's 13 days is not enough for Trump to turn. Not yet. So, talking about reports coming out of Iran, is according to sources, a major silent power shift has occurred in Iran. Traditional mullah establishment has lost control, with a powerful faction of IRGC commanders now de facto running the country. Khomeini's son is being used strictly as a figurehead to maintain the illusion of continuity. So and down here, his next comment is, according to these sources, they're also in direct talks with the U.S. Now, I hate anonymous sources. They are always, trust me, bro. And I don't like trust me, bro. I don't. I looked up this guy. He's got enough credentials where I'm like, well, I can, and I've looked up his past. He's got enough where I'm like, okay, he's a legit reporter. So I'm going to report his story. I can't tell you if it's true or not. He might be throwing noise out there just as much as our media is throwing noise at us. I don't know. But I can tell you that this would actually make a lot of sense. And so we can hope and pray it's true. And if it's true, if the IRGC did take over, and if Khomeini's regime is basically gone, well, the IRGC, which is also pretty terrible, and a lot of connection to City of London, but they're not religious fanatics. So they might be much more open to creating a new government similar to what we have in Venezuela. So let's watch and pray and hope that that's what we get. But cutting through the noise, we have this coming out today. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson says many ships can still pass through Strait of Hormuz if they coordinate with the Iranian Navy. And to which they reply, what Iranian Navy? But the straits are open, which is true. The straits are open. It's just that, as I just read, a lot of ships aren't quite ready to go through because they're scared of the few mines in there and then whatever else Iran is doing. So they're waiting it out. But they don't have a navy. And so this is all Iran's foreign ministry just talking, just throwing stuff out there just to act as if they're still in charge. It's all part of the psyop. As James Lindsay calls out here, you're getting psyoped. And one of the big psyops going on right now is that there was going to be some massive drone attack from Iran to California. Now tell me, first of all, how that makes sense. Iran's across the Atlantic. To get to California, you got to go around the world. No one attacks like that. But this was reported by ABC News, and then a lot of other networks picked it up from ABC's report. It's all to scare us. And then we get there's going to be major false flags so the Jews can take over. I'm not even kidding. This is the kind of stuff we're hearing. Okay, but thankfully, Iran's not planning attack on California. Their drones can't even reach the West Coast. CIA Mossad, here it is planning one to manufacture consent for an unpopular war. Well, we're already in the war. So how does that make sense? As James Lindsay calls it out, you are getting psyopsed. And it's true. The psyops are everywhere right now. It's the worst I've ever seen. And that includes COVID. And the reason why I say it includes COVID is because COVID, the psyop itself was massive, but it was made worse by the fact that the government was enforcing it. And every time Trump tried to do something, I mean, I don't have time to go into the whole COVID situation, break it through that. That was a massive psyop. But the reason I say this one is what we're seeing now in Trump's second term is even bigger, is because the plants within MAGA are now coming out. See, under COVID, because they were able to lock stuff down, they were able to actually get a virus out there, not that dangerous of a virus for most people, but still it was out there. That aspect was real, and they were able to rig the elections because of it. And so they didn't need to go all assets deployed in that one. But see now, because you don't use resources if you don't need to. You save them for when you need them. Well, now all assets are deployed, and we keep seeing it everywhere. The lies that keep coming out, the influencers that keep turning, it's just every day there's something new. And it's trying to destroy us from within. And they're hoping that they turn enough of us, that that with all assets deployed, enough of us give up on the midterms or vote Democrat, that they overwhelmingly win the House and Senate. And then they have at least a shred of hope of getting rid of Trump. It's a small hope. It's not very big. And I've told you guys before why I don't think the midterms are the end all be all that everybody acts like they are. They're important. Don't get me wrong. Very important. But it's not the end of the world if we lose them, because 2028, Trump will still be president. They still have to go. JD Vance is next in succession. And there's just no way we don't get to 2028 where the Democrats, in fact, it could backfire on them, because the people, if they do vote in the Democrats, they're going to be voting in for pricing. They're going to be voting in for all the stuff they're frustrated with Trump right now. And the Democrats won't deliver any of it. They won't deliver any of it. And because they won't deliver any of it, and they'll just focus the entire time on impeaching Trump and trying to ruin his presidency, the people will turn on that. And 2028 will probably be an even bigger landslide. So you see, the midterms are not the end of the world. They're just going to suck if the Democrats are in. But that's why we're getting psyoped to hell right now. Now, Victor Davis Hanson was on Ingram, and he had a great breakdown of what could come out of this war from Iran. And let's listen to him real quick.
There's three possible outcomes in our view, and they're all better than the pre-war one. The first is that we did so much damage to the military and discredit, there's a popular revolt. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but it could. The second is the Venezuela situation, where somebody emerges that we're not really in favor of, but they're going to put a lid on the theocracy and work with the West. And the third is you're just going to do so much damage to the command and control and the military infrastructure that you just let them stew in their own juice. And then you say to the Iranian people, these people did this to you, and we're here to help sometime, but go to it. And whatever happens will be better than having them close to a nuclear weapon and with all the assets they had. So we're in a good position, Laura. There's three possible.
I love it. This guy is very smart, and he makes excellent points that there's really no downside at this point to what's going on in Iran, which, as I told you guys, Trump has an out, and he's going to use one of those outs one way or the other coming up to the midterms. And worst case scenario, we leave them obliterated. We put very strong sanctions on, strong boundaries. We're watching the Strait of Hormuz very closely, maybe leave some ships somewhere over there, whatever it is, but we end the official operation before the midterms and we declare victory. So Trump, this is going to end up a win for Trump one way or the other. And Victor Davis Hanson breaks it down really well right there in saying so. Now, I do think something's coming, because check this out. Scott Bessent was giving an interview tonight, and in the interview, this happened mid-interview.
I listened to you on the.
The president wants you. Sorry, the president wants you for everybody.
Oh, okay. Okay. No problem at all. See you shortly, Mr. Secretary.
You can work that in.
Mr. Secretary, I have to say, it's a first, I'm sure a loss as well, that.
President pulled him out for 2 hours from his interview. You know how much Trump cares about media and his people being good on media? It's a big deal to him. So some's going down. Some in the finance realm, which, by the way, Bessent is he's one of Trump's captains in this war, because City of London's main control is financial. And Bessent is helping him destroy their financial hold on everything. So Bessent is basically, we looked at him as basically a war general. So remember that whenever Bessent is everywhere with all this going on.
An interviewee's been pulled away to go to the Situation Room. How was the president? Was he stressed?
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule, and I have to tell you, Wolf, that I've a teenager who's considering military service, and I could give this team my highest compliment, from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
Good stuff from Bessent. What a great answer. But again, Situation Room, 2 hours in the middle of an interview. It'd be very interesting to see what happens with in the next couple of days. If it is true that the IRGC is taken over and is reaching out to the U.S., Bessent would be a big part of negotiating all that. So are we close? Is Trump going to pull a fast one on everybody? I wouldn't be surprised. Let me put it that way. Because, Trump doesn't go out there and say we're ahead of schedule, stuff like that, unless he knows something that others don't. And the Trump administration is notorious also for seeding out false narratives, leaking what they want the media to think versus what's actually going on purpose, because he loves to make the media look bad over and over and over again. And remember, Bessent, he is the guy who helped Soros crash the pound in the 90s. So Bessent, he knows how the most diabolical financial man in the world has done this stuff. He's a genius. And I gotta say, I love how Trump has pulled these people like Bassett and Tulsi Gabbard away, those who've defected from the evil side back over. So watch. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. I'll just keep it like that. Couple other interesting things on Iran. Bibi said something really interesting today. And listen to how he says this. Now this is a little bit getting into like end time stuff, but this is all going around this eschatology stuff. And I just want to speak to it real quick, but first I'll let him speak.
And I believe we all recognize the fact that we will reach to the kingdom. We will make it to the return of the Messiah, but this will not happen next Thursday. The lives of nations is always precarious and surrounded.
All right, so did you hear that? The return of the Messiah line? I thought that was very interesting for a couple reasons. A, Jews don't believe the Messiah is returning. They believe he hasn't come yet. So that's number one. That caught my ear. The other thing is that a lot of people are playing this up really big. Like, oh, they're trying to usher in the end of the world. They're trying to usher in the Antichrist. They're trying to usher in the third temple. I'm just going to call BS to all of that. Now, there's some people who want that for sure. Bibi is just talking to his people. And Bibi is not very popular. So Bibi's going to use whatever appeal he can to his people. Okay, so that's number one. I don't think Bibi actually is a religious man and cares deeply about this stuff. That's number one. Number two, the psyop, there is a major psyop going on to try to convince evangelical Christians and people in the West to be freaking out about all this stuff going on in the Middle East right now. That it's the end of the world and this is finally happening. Oh my God. It's just not happening. And I say that as a student of theology for 25 years plus. And somebody who's been a pastor, served in the church for almost 2 decades. I can tell you guys that it's just, there's a lot of bad theology about this stuff. And so I wouldn't trust anybody who tries to tie this to end time stuff, because the truth is we're heading in a good direction right now, not to a climactic end of the world. So I just wanted to speak to that, because not only is Bibi saying this is getting reposted all over the place, but I've been seeing this pop up all over the place. And I just wanted to use this as a chance to talk to you. If you want more on my breakdown of theology, you can go to my Bible study that I did where I break down understanding the entire Bible on my channel. It's in a playlist, and you guys can go through that at any point. Okay. Last thing I want to show you is just Putin coming out. And again, he's just alerting us to City of London and all the ties of City of London, how they're operating. And we have the war in Iran right now. And then other than that, their last stronghold, their last hope to really get things moving is to take out or to keep the Ukraine-Russia war going and hopefully turn that into World War III. And listen to Putin breaking it down.
They are warmongers. Even when they are trying allegedly to introduce some changes, some adjustments to the President Trump's proposal, all these changes have only one goal in mind. They are aimed at blocking and putting to a halt this peace process. They are trying to make demands that are unacceptable for Russia, and they understand this, and then later they would try to blame Russia, accuse Russia of stopping this peace process. This is their objectives, and we can clearly see that. That's why, well, if they want to go back to the reality, considering the reality on the ground, then they are welcome. We are not against this. Thirdly, they have no...
How much Putin and them have been coming out and calling out the EU lately, calling them a group run by Satanists and pedophiles and a cabal. They're using all the language that we use. Those of us who are kind of paying close attention to what Trump's been trying to do and behind the scenes, the real deep state. And Putin's saying all the same stuff. Now, the counter argument would be, oh, he's just appealing to the conspiracy theorists in America and trying to dupe you over. But if anybody paying attention knows that doesn't add up. So Putin calling him out here, it tells me, by the way, with City of London, with Iran being attacked right now, with oil prices going up, and this is actually, it's like an injection of cash to Russia right now, because oil prices going up, that's helping Russia greatly. They're able to get an injection, a major injection into their economy right now, which was struggling because of oil prices being so low. So Putin actually loves this war in Iran right now. It's empowering Russia. Zelensky's out there freaking out right now. City of London is struggling. They just lost all this insurance from Lloyd's at the Strait of Hormuz. This could be that by Trump attacking Iran, this could also end the Russia-Ukraine war. So watch carefully, because I really think we're going to see incredible things here in the next couple months. I think what Trump just did in Iran, the way they're all freaking out about it, the way the influencers are freaking out, the way the media is treating this, the way like the UK refused to help at first, and Spain is refusing to let us use their bases, the way everybody's acting over this, even though Iran is like the big bad of so many years and condemned by the UN. Well, it was easy to do that when there was no action behind it. But now there's action. None of these countries are backing us up. And we were told Russia and China would get involved, and we couldn't do it because of them. And they've just held back and been like, you guys chill. In fact, China called out Iran yesterday for blasting other Gulf states. They were like, don't do it. So China is condemning Iran in all this. Very interesting how this is all playing out. Could it have been that Trump knew by attacking Iran that he was also going to put so much pressure on the EU and the UK that it would also end this war finally? I don't know, but you can't put it past him. Again, they've been war planning this for months. All right. Before I get to the next section, let me check in the chat, catch up with you guys. $10 super chat from David. What's up, man? He says, Trump is America's King Arthur, noble leader who alone can wield the mighty Excalibur of our military with integrity, honor, not abuse like others before him. Mount Rushmore president. Amen, my friend. I completely agree with you. I truly believe that as history looks back on Donald Trump, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, which I see no reason it's not going to keep going for the next 3 years, history will look back on Donald Trump at some point as right up there. It'll be Washington, Lincoln, and Trump as the three greatest presidents of our nation. And so can't wait to see that time. I hope it happens in my lifetime. Tokram writes, says, think of midterms are safe. I trust Trump's order of events and timing. He's executing a plan. I agree with you. Let's see here. Anybody else? Everybody's kind of talking with each other, which is great. Trish says, Russia and Israel have been scapegoats forever. Absolutely. Why are Israelis burning down forests in Argentina? I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I'll have to look into that, Marvel. Thank you for bringing that up for me. I hadn't heard that. I will look. And are we sure about it? That's the question. Are we sure about that? Russia was given a 60-day contract for oil to India unsanctioned. Exactly. Now think about that, Lisa. Why? Because it's all, as a Joker would say, it's all part of the plan. Trump, this is a backwards way of Trump allowing Putin to get money in a struggling economy. Putin is on Trump's side in all this. And I know most of you already know this, especially those of you watching my show, although we do have a lot of new viewers. Welcome. Glad you're watching. Please hit that like and subscribe if you don't mind. I appreciate having you guys, and glad you're here. But that, we've talked about this a lot, how Putin, although not a nice guy, not necessarily a good guy, but he's been good for Russia, and he's not trying to resurrect the Soviet Union. Has been lied about him for years. He just wants Russia to be strong, and he knows everybody around him is awful. And so he runs his place very strongly. There's a reason the people of Russia have never tried to rise up and take him out after 30 years. So they love him overall, not everybody, of course, but most of them love him. And he rebuilt Russia from the dregs when the Clinton administration, after the Soviet Union fell, was allowing everybody to come in and rape and pillage the place. And the EU was trying to take all their resources. Putin is the one who put an end to that. The Russian people were starving by the late 90s. Putin ended that. And so Putin has been hoping for a fall of this cabal for years, for City of London to go down, and he found an ally in Trump, and Trump is trying to reestablish an alliance with Russia. Russia was our friend in the Revolutionary War. They were our friend in the Civil War. Russia has been a friend to us until the Soviet Union. And so we're trying to get back to that. We've actually had historically a better relationship with Russia than England, which is interesting. So I do believe this is a backwards way of Trump getting him some money. Just Trump closing the borders was a dang accomplishment. 100%. David says it's only been a year and a few months. Trump's gotten so much done. By the end of this term, he could beat Lincoln. That'll be tough because there will always be the slavery aspect with Lincoln. That's so huge, but you never know. You never know. I mean, if Trump sets us free from the slavery, the tyranny of the City of London financial system, and gets us back onto wealth, prosperity, and justice for all, yeah, I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. Okay, well, while all this Iran nonsense is going on, I thought we'd check in on the Grifters real quick. Alex Jones tonight. He was on Timcast tonight, and Alex, a few months ago, I can't remember, it all blurs together. He quit drinking. He lost weight. He was looking well, and he was on Timcast tonight, and it was very sad because he was obviously not himself. He was either drunk or something else was going on. It was rough. I only listened to the first hour, but it was rough. But look at this nonsense. So first of all, this is a good thing. And this is what Alex always does. He does a little bit of truth and then sprinkles in some nonsense. But no evidence had Mossad killed by Iranian strikes. That is true. But then he says, that said, Iran's starting to win. That's complete and utter BS, Alex. And he knows it. But got to keep grifting, baby. Keep getting those checks. We got Nick Fuentes coming out, going so far as to say, I'm rooting for Iran to win. Buddy, your hat there says America first. In war, that means that you root for your home team no matter what. So, but Nick's a Fed. I don't expect anything more from him. But he says this would be better to lose. That's so insane. I'm going to just run through these quick. We got the Hodge twins out there calling out Trump for going to Kentucky yesterday. Whoever told Trump it was a good idea to run a rhino against Massey should be fired. Massey ain't losing in Kentucky. I cannot wait for these idiots to be proven wrong. They are just complete and total hacks. And then Candace today, in my opinion, hit a new low, which is saying a lot for her because she's been pretty low for a while. Today, she just spent a long time doing the footage from behind Charlie Kirk's head, showing the whole gruesome incident and giving all her takes, which included, this guy doesn't go into it. I didn't watch it, and I'm not going to play it because we don't need to watch this again. But, I said this at the very beginning before we caught Candace in a bunch of lies, which the lies were multitude. I saw somebody write on my channel the other day, be like, well, I haven't seen Candace lie. And I was like, well, I've done a lot of content on it, and I segmented it out for you. Go find it. I break it all down in previous shows. But what I said from the beginning is that she, even if she was right, which now we know she hasn't been, but even if she was handling it the wrong way. Because if a friend of yours dies and he was important and you handle it with honor, well, there's no honor in this stuff. There's just not. We've already been through the whole head wound thing. Why bring it up 6 months later and go through it again? The only reason is for views. That's it. That is the only reason for views. So crazy. Gotcha Sucka says, well, I left out Joe Rogan to point out Trump said there'd be no wars. You know what I'll say about Joe? Joe is not a grifter. And the reason I know Joe's not a grifter is because he was famous before, and he started doing his podcast on his own, and he grinded for years before it became popular. In the early days, barely anybody was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience. So Joe just did it. I think Joe made himself financially independent, and I really think he's just the seeker he is. I don't think Joe's the smartest guy in the world about politics. I really don't. And he surrounds himself with a bunch of idiots that are his friends, like Dave Smith and Tim Dillon. They're all comedians. They only go so deep. Now, he also has a lot of great people on his show. He just had RFK Jr. on the other day. Fantastic stuff. Joe's one of the reasons Trump won. He had an honest discussion, let Trump vamp for 3 hours unedited. I'm telling you, there's no sign that Joe's a grifter. But Joe's always been a liberal. And so Joe, even though he's not insane like other liberals, he does go back and forth sometimes on this stuff. And so I think Joe's not out there calling out Trump as a liar stuff. He gets frustrated. And that's that. But the difference is what I see with Joe doing. He's not making his whole show about it. He's not making his whole show, hey, I'm going to call out Trump and destroy MAGA and call out Israel. He's not doing that. Tucker Carlson is, Megyn Kelly is, Ian Carroll is, Nick Fuentes is, Candace Owens is. They're all grifting by taking these subjects and trying to ruin them. Joe's not doing that. Joe's just having whoever on at any time and they talk about it. That, my friends, is the difference between disagreement and grifting. And Joe is just still doing the exact same thing he's always done. Not everybody who disagrees is a grifter. People are free to have their own minds about stuff. It's the same in my chat. You're free to disagree with me as long as you're honorable and respectful. But if you come in shilling, if you come in trolling, out. And that's the difference. So with Rogan, he's also not a political show. He's not trying to change the playing field at all. Rogan is literally, I truly believe he's just somebody who's out there seeking and wanting to talk to people. That, my friends, is a big difference. Listen, Marvel, you're completely allowed to block comments as somebody with, it's private enterprise. I'm not the government. And so your argument about free speech is retarded. I don't believe in free speech in my chat because it's my chat. It's my business. And so guess what, bud? You're gone. Hope you like them apples. Oh, I would, but by the way, I would support the government to allow you to have free speech on your own chat. So there you go, bud. Enjoy speaking into the atmosphere now, because nobody's going to see your chats no more. Bye-bye. That's what you get for trolling, brother, and for your retarded comments. I don't have time for it. And the people don't have time for it. They want real discussions. Okay, let's get into the SAVE Act here. Couple developments. We have more and more House members threatening to block anything from the Senate because they have that power. It doesn't take that many of them. And what's happening now is this coordination. In the Senate, I got to say this. This is fantastic. Okay, because the Senate wasn't expecting anybody to fight back against them. They were completely blindsided by this because they're used to being the oligarchs of the land, where the House of Lords in America is the Senate. And they do not like to be messed with. And they usually feel like if they put their foot down on something and tell you it's not going to happen, they win. And most of the time they have. Except for they didn't count on Trump appealing to the people and the people coming back with a voice so strong that it actually might eventually force them into something. So Brandon Gill is the latest to come out. I love this guy, man. He is so good in hearings.
The nays are 10. The bill as amended.
He's the latest to come out. Going to block anything that comes up in the Senate. As long as the Senate refuses to pass the Save America Act, why should I vote for any bill the Senate sends over to the House? So we have more and more of this coming up. They're neutering the power of the Senate, which the Senate is supposed to be like the big brother to the House. They don't like when little brother fights back. They don't like it. Seth asked, it goes from the House to the Senate, right? No, not necessarily. Senate can draft bill and go back to the House. They can both go back and forth. They just both have to approve it. It's happened several times in history where something gets drafted in the Senate first. So, but the point is the Senate also will amend stuff and send it back to the House. So lots can get blocked in the House from the Senate. And all you need, because the Democrats are not going to vote for anything Republican at all. So all you need is a handful, 3-4 House members to block stuff. And all of a sudden the entire agenda gets stalled. So they're pushing back and it's great to see. And all the word is that the Senate is shocked by how much people are fighting back. And here's Josh Hawley coming out and saying it's stalled. The Save Act is stalled. Can't believe a few states want illegal voting, and saying if they want to stall it, they'd have to stand the filibuster on the floor and talk. So Hawley's out there fighting for the standing filibuster, which we want to see more and more senators jumping on that train. Hawley's one of the good ones. And then here is Mark Meadows, former chief of staff from Trump, with Matt Gaetz. And I'm going to actually play this clip and let you guys see what he has to say.
Leader Thune said that the people calling for an end to the talking filibuster were just paid influencers. Did you ever think you'd be so cool as to be deemed a paid influencer, Mark Meadows?
Well, I'm waiting for that first paycheck as a paid influencer. So I can tell you that literally what this is a grassroots support.
Yes.
The influencers that are out there, they're coming along, but they're not getting paid to move this motivation and go forward. It's 85% issue. Why is there such a problem getting
right, like
an
what?
85%?
Who is the special interest out there paying influencers for voter ID? If there was some massive special interest out there paying influencers on voter ID, we probably would have gotten it done before now because of the popularity you explained. Now, when you and I were in Congress together, we lived under the tyranny of a person called the Senate parliamentarian because they got to decide what was considered under a lower threshold than 60 votes. Our friends like Chip Roy and Scott Perry were pushing really hard to get this Save America Act into the last reconciliation bill. The Senate parliamentarian, hired by like Harry Reid many moons ago, said no. Why won't Leader Thune just fire the Senate parliamentarian? Like make Cleta Mitchell the Senate parliamentarian for a week and a half and we save the country.
Well, their heads would explode if Cleta Mitchell became the Senate parliamentarian, I can tell you that. But you're exactly right. What happens is you've got this parliamentarian, and it's almost as if, Matt, they just want to lose, but want to lose in a gentleman or ladylike fashion. And I can tell you, the donor class, even the donor class, have taken notice of this. If they don't get the Save America Act passed and to the president's desk, there will be a problem.
All right. And there you hear it. If they don't get the Save America Act passed, even the donor class is noticing there's going to be a problem. And that, my friends, the donor class, That's who controls all the senators, all the House members. All the grifters say they control Trump too, but that's always a cop out. That's just when they don't, because they know if they challenge Trump directly, they'll lose their audience. So they always have to say it's Trump's consultants or the donors. They always have to mix that in there. That's code for we actually are against Trump, but we're not ready to lose our audience yet. But the real donor class does control the Senate. And so if it's getting to them, it means they're getting worried that their senators, the ones they're funding, that they'll lose their seats. And they don't want that. You know, even though it's a uniparty, even though some of these guys are deep state uniparty rhino types, they still want their power. And the Republican donors still want them in there. They don't want to lose to Democrats. The uniparty is a uniparty, but they still like hate each other. It's like family members who hate each other. They don't want to give that power up. And so the donor party, if they're noticing this, that's going to start moving things. And so there's still a lot of hope here, guys. I know it doesn't look great, but there's definitely some hope here. Okay, a couple last things I want to cover here in a second, but I do want to get back into chat for a minute. Please, guys, if you don't mind, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're enjoying the show, if you're learning anything, if you appreciate it. By the way, you guys can jump in the chat if you haven't yet. I do love the comments, the questions. I do my best to keep up. Obviously, I miss most of them now, especially as the show is growing, but I do my best to scan, pick out what I can, and if you have a great question and I don't care if you repeat it a few times, okay? Just don't super spam the chat. Ray's God, I booted that guy. Well, good. He was a jerk. He deserved to go. Anytime anybody brings up, that's the worst argument anybody could ever give to me. Oh, I thought you're free speech. Yeah, I'm free speech. I'm against the government telling you can't say what you want to say in a public square. I'm against the government telling you can't create your own business where you could say what you want to say. I'm against the government putting a restriction on a word or a phrase, telling us, policing all of our speech. I'm against that, but I'm not the government, baby. And this is my show. So I do believe in free enterprise and capitalism, which means when you're on my territory, I get to control it. I get to have boundaries, just like I have boundaries in my house. My kids aren't allowed to cuss. If you come into my house and you start saying something to my wife, I will knock you down. Yeah, there is not free speech in this household. There's not free speech in this house, but I'll fight for your right for the government to go do it in your house. You're just not going to do it in mine. That's how, I'm sorry, but that's actually true libertarianism and conservatism. You were on my house, baby. Let's see here. Peter says Tucker's mad because he thought he was going to have a role in Trump's admin, but he didn't. I actually don't agree with that. I think so. Tucker, he hated Trump. We have the text messages from 2020, 2021. He hated Trump. But Tucker's old school Republican. He's establishment Republican. He's Bush era. The McConnell, Paul Ryan wing. That's where he got his money from. His family, Washington, D.C., CIA, his father. He knows how to play the game. He's been in the political arena his entire life. No, Tucker just knows how to play the game, ebb and flow, and disperse information to get narratives across he wants. I think Tucker, to keep his career going, went all in on Trump coming back because all Republicans were against what Biden was doing. Even old school Republicans that don't like Trump were. Because you had to be, and because anybody with common sense was. That's how Fox News keeps going. It appeals to people with common sense even when they hate Trump. I mean, Fox News is completely funded by Big Pharma. Big Pharma hates Trump, and yet their brand is conservative. So they try to take their digs at Trump when they can, but they also can't fully turn against him. Tucker was same deal. But Tucker told us everything. He's been planting these seeds for a while to undermine Trump here and there. And then when it came time, he fully turned. And he's still trying to stay in it. But he's just saying such insane stuff that it's just, there's just no way he's not on the wrong side of things. Ray Sandoval, thought you liked Thune before you got to know him. Oh man, Thune's always been a rhino. I'm sorry. I tried to tell you. He's just better than Cornyn. That's the only difference. And those were our choices. Those were our only choices that they gave us. Did I hear Paul Bagala lying about Hegseth? No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. Oh, lying about steak and lobster. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Fox is owned by Murdoch. That is correct. But they're funded by Big Pharma because Pharma, like it's owned by Murdoch, but they get all their revenue from Pharma. They run all those ads. So Big Pharma is actually their real boss. I'm for the government. I'm here to help. That's right. Trish says Candace's show is specifically meant for Erica's eyes. She was twisting the knife out of being ignored. I mean, I agree. It's terrible. Oh, I know. Candace, who she's married to. I've done all that before, gone through all that. So, yep. Okay. All right. Anything else you guys got? Throw it in the chat. I got a couple more things I want to cover here before we end. All right. Basent today, put this out here. POTUS, Trump is taking decisive steps to promote stability in global energy markets, working to keep prices low as we address the threat and instability posed by terrorist Iranian regime. To increase the global reach of existing supply, U.S. Treasury, I told you, Basent, he's out there fighting the war, man. He's one of Trump's generals. Treasury is providing temporary authorization, permit countries to purchase Russian oil. Do you hear this? Not just India. Countries to purchase Russian oil currently stranded at sea. They're letting Russia get that money, man. This narrowly tailored short-term measure applies only to oil already in transit, won't provide significant financial benefit. Yeah, right. But they got to say it. They know what they're doing. Trump's pro-energy policies driven U.S. oil and gas production at record levels, contributing to lower fuel prices. So this is just smart. This is showing again, like, it's not about principles when the principles don't ultimately matter. Some principles do matter, obviously, like taking an innocent life. Some principles matter. You don't cross them. But some principles are just faux principles, just created out of thin air to try to make our government not do stuff or to try to give an excuse to not act on things. This is breaking a faux principle and allowing people to buy Russian oil. So just smart for everybody involved. Also on oil, Kobe Letter reported today, U.S. oil market undergone historic transformation. U.S. has been a net exporter of oil every quarter since 2020. That is the Trump miracle, my friends. Exports up to 360 million barrels per quarter, second highest on record. Since 2008, our exports have surged 800%. Over the same period, imports fallen 38%. Incredible. We've gone from net importing 400 million barrels of oil in 2006 to net exporting 100 million barrels in 2025. Marks one of the biggest energy shifts by a major economy in modern history. My friends, Donald Trump, this is incredible, incredible stuff. Let's go through a few more wins, shall we? U.S. goods and service exports hit a record high in January, totaling $302 billion. Americans are exporting more than ever. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, tariffs. Trade deficit narrows in January as exports jump to record high. We're busting more fraud. Fox News covering this one. But you better believe it all started because of the White House. Nick Shirley, I'm telling you, that guy is not just stumbling into stuff. This is all planned. But 87-year-old Nevada doctor's identity used to file 76,000 claims for $600 million in Los Angeles. My friends, it is spreading. The corruption is being exposed more and more on a massive level. And I'm telling you, people get frustrated. No arrests. Nothing's happened. It's coming. You have to get the people fully on your side first before you do these things, because with as corrupt as the judiciary is right now, the people have to demand it in order for it to stick. And that's where we're getting. Tariff win for Trump. Aluminum plant South Carolina surge jobs for Americans paying $125K a year. Aluminum CEO Jesse Gary, tariffs are working. Plant is back to 100% manufacturing capacity. It's starting. The manufacturing boom is returning. They said it couldn't be done. Now, the last couple of things I want to show you guys are just about Trump in general. But this story came out today, and I thought this was just incredible. So, from a Secret Service agent protecting Trump said, Trump's ruined me. I can never protect another president after him. And the reason why, as he says, protecting multiple presidents before Trump, trained professionally, did his job perfectly, protected each president the same way. With Trump, everything changed. Agent explained, Trump ruined me for this job. Not because he's difficult, he's the opposite. Trump knows my name. Every other president called me agent. Trump calls me by my actual name. Trump knows my wife's name, my children's names, asks about my son's baseball games by name. He notices when I'm tired, says, sit down, you need rest, orders extra food during long days, make sure my guys eat first. Attend my father's funeral when he passed. No cameras, no press. Came to honor this man. After experiences, how can I go back to being called agent? After Trump, remember my kids' names. How can I protect someone who won't learn my name? Guys, I'm sharing this because this was also reported several times in the first term, and people like Buzz Patterson, who used to serve with President Clinton, have with his inside sources have confirmed this as well. And I just wanted to share it to show you guys who Trump is as a person. He's a good man. And so when everybody is like freaking out, when everybody is, he's such a bully, he's such a jerk, literally no one who knows Trump personally ever says those things. Look at what he did with Bill Maher, one of the greatest transformations ever from one of the most vocal critics of President Trump. Bill Maher visited Trump, accepted his invitation, had dinner with him, and ever since then, he's still criticized Trump on policy, but he is defending Trump on a personal level over and over again to several liberals he has on a show. It's incredible, and it just goes to show that Trump is he's the real deal. And you know a man's character by how he treats those under him, whether it's his children, his employees, you name it. That's how you know. And these people love Trump, love working for him. And so it's just a good reminder. I saw that today, and I thought it was important to share because we have a good man in charge of our country, which could not be said about so many men before him. But we have a good man in charge of our country, and that just gives me more hope he'll see things through the right way for the next 3 years. I love it. And finally, I wanted to end with this from Brian Cates, just breaking down what people can't see. And I feel this all the time. Okay. And it's not you guys, but one of the reasons I do my show, my show, and I've done it for past 3+ years, is because I want information out there. I want people to see what I see and explain why I see it the way I do. Because it's very frustrating when you live in a world where people just don't pay attention or don't understand. And so I want to share that knowledge, and you guys do with it what you will. It's up to you how you process it. But it's like I could either just talk to a couple people or keep my thoughts to myself, or I could put them out there in areas that I'm well versed in, which is politics, theology, business, culture, and history. Those are things I care very much about, and sports, but we're not talking about that here. But the point is like, I love these things and I'm passionate about them, and I've done the work. And so just like he says, I'm amazed sometimes that people still don't see it. They can't see how Trump and his team have been literally kicking the living shit out of the old guard for the past 14 months. It started with shutting them out of the U.S. Treasury, cutting off likely anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 of the funding using for their shenanigans in our hemisphere. The Great Trade Reset with tariffs within 1 year, Trump took over $22 trillion worth of industry away from these people overseas, brought it back here. Shutting down the human drug trafficking networks, compromising profits in the U.S. What did we learn under Joe Biden? Human trafficking went up 2,000% across our border and in our land. Not only ending several ongoing conflicts, preventing several new ones they were counting on to make money from. Now a bunch of these central banks got caught in a sting and are being raided in the UK and EU for cooking the books and double or even triple counting assets to inflate their holdings. How did that happen? The market correction's coming, guys. And now number 6, Trump's taking their 100-year-old system of controlling the world's energy choke points and the maritime insurance grift away from them. Another couple trillion he's moving away from them and towards the U.S., not to mention utterly exposing and destroying their sick and vile playbook of setting up proxy regimes in places of Tel Aviv and Tehran, spending decades having them fight each other while they fund both sides and make profits off the conflict. By the time Trump's done, they won't be able to run the playbook again on anybody. And I completely agree with everything there that's said. So just incredible stuff we're watching. We're watching history, guys, and we're winning. Trump is ahead of the curve. This is all part of the plan. Doesn't mean everything always goes according to plan, but I'm telling you, they have B plan, C plan, and it just keeps going. So they're prepared, and he's playing. He really is playing 4D chess, and we're going to see it again. I'm telling you right now, one of the one things you can always count on with Trump, that he'll surprise those who stick with him in a good way, and surprise by shocking those who finally think they got him by eluding them again and proving them wrong again. That's been the last 10 years of my life following this man, and he's earned my loyalty as a result, and I'm ready for it again. So, all right, let me get into the chat before we cut tonight, and I do see a couple things. So let me catch up with you guys. Where is it? Okay, David asks, is it possible people like Tucker are misled? Seems like Tucker's been gloomy lately. Maybe he's a doomer. No, it's not possible. And I'll tell you why. Tucker is connected everywhere. He even has connections to the White House. He even just went up to Trump 2 weeks ago and visited with him right before the Iran strike. Tucker has all the information. He has no excuse. He's not like a Rogan where he's just interviewing people and learning. No, Tucker's connected, and he's been connected for his entire life. So Tucker doesn't have an excuse. He's not misled. And I know it'd be nice to say that, but it's like I explained earlier. There's a way to do it. There's a way to disagree that's honorable and shows intellectual honesty and curiosity that is open. And when you pick a leader like a Trump, especially when we're told by people like Tucker that it's existential to vote for Trump because the Democrats will destroy our nation. Well, when you choose that leader, you don't turn on him and basically make it sound like his decisions are insane and that he's being controlled by another country. You don't do that the year of an election when they could lose that election and let the people you said was an existential threat back in. You don't do that. Not only is that stupid, it's just something that would never happen if you actually believe those words. So it's how they do it sometimes that gives them away. It's not the disagreement. It's like the guy who came in here and was disagreeing with me. It's how he disagreed with me. It's how they act. And listen, I've been studying people for my entire life, as long as I can remember. I used to watch people even when I was a young teenager. I was quiet and I just learned it's how people say things matters. And the greatest example I always go back to on this is that when Jesus is tempted in the wilderness and Matthew 4, by the devil. The devil tempts Jesus by using scripture. His words weren't wrong. It was how he used them, which was out of context. That's how Jesus was able to counter him. And that's how the most devious people lie, not by saying outrageous things, but by saying half-truths and taking things out of context, poking at the wrong time. This is how I know Candace is a grifter, and how I saw it even before she got caught in lies, because of saying you're a friend to somebody who just died and being completely dishonorable in how you covered their death. It's that kind of stuff. It's how they do it. And that's how you spot them. And that's how I know Tucker just can't be trusted anymore. The only excuse Tucker has is if he has a reason, like Trump put him up to being opposition for a while, which makes no sense. And I would be shocked, but there is always that aspect to consider. Let's see what else we got here. There's a plan for Chagos Islands to become U.S. territory. Oh man, I know. Just wait. If that happens, it's going to be crazy. What else here? Lots of talking to each other. Less crazy, still crazy, says Gutfeld. Democrats are crazy. I agree. Roger asks, what happened to the windfall profit tax we had in the 70s to discourage gas price gouging? Honestly, I can't tell you, Roger. It might still be in place and they just figured out how to get around it, or it might have been repealed under the Reagan administration. The problem with a windfall tax, I know it sounds great, Roger, but it's almost always too socialistic to help. And usually what it does is it just encourages companies to not keep growing, which is just not possible in the oil industry. Do you know the oil companies, even though they have a lot of money, but one of the reasons they have so much money is just because they sell so much. Most of them as a percentage, not as a total, but as a percentage, don't make a lot of profit. They put a lot of their profits back into investment and growth and finding new areas to drill. And so we benefit from that. And so, windfall profit tax on oil companies is just not a good idea. It's great to hear City of London being discussed. Oh yeah, we talk about it a lot over here. In fact, I am going to be doing a members live soon. I meant to do it this week, guys, but just had too much family stuff come up, and we're going to deep dive City of London, its history and all that. And I might do it this weekend. So yes, Trump has been taking the drug money from the central banks. He's also been cutting out their money laundering ability through the markets. So the cartels were laundering a lot of money through the markets, $500 billion a year. So Trump will force the raise cut. He called for it today. And I'm telling you, Warsh is going to come in and do crazy things at the Fed in good ways. Just watch. Just watch. So let's see. David, the real conspiracy, Trump chosen by God to lead our country out of the grips of the old elite. Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of new viewers now, so you not all have heard my story, but I was not a Trump fan. I thought he was funny. I was going to vote for Marco Rubio. I was completely, I didn't like the establishment Republican wing, but I also I didn't know how evil it was yet. I was going to vote for Rubio in the 2016 primaries, and in a day I was having a prayer meditation time and with my journal, and I'll never forget, I heard God's voice clear as day saying, I want to tell you about the election. And I said, okay, because, I'm very political. And he said, Trump's going to win. And he said that I'm using Trump to bring a golden age to America. I have it written down in my journal. It was May 27th. No, sorry, March 27th, 2016. And ever since then, I knew Trump was going to be here and he was going to see it through. So I've had nothing happen to me since to disprove me of that, because, I believe everybody can hear from God but the way you test it is A, is it scriptural? And B, is it validated? And Trump has validated it. So I just paid attention. Look, I've trusted him ever since, and I just keep feeling better and better about that decision. Let's see. Mike Bischler on a $750 million lawsuit related to election fraud and Dominion and Tucker getting fired was a weird situation. Oh yeah, it was. There's a lot more going on there than just that lawsuit. That was an excuse. Tucker's greed got him to go rogue. Maybe. I think he was waiting his time. So listening to me confirm your thoughts about the grifters. Well, that's good. Kev says, he has a podcast thousands of people listen to, claims to be objective, calls balls and strikes, and lately has just been bagging on President Trump. Can't stand it. There you go. That's a great point, Kev. That is how, that's kind of how you know. When it's how they do it, right? So, Andy needs to hear me speak about Trump and hear about it. Well, I'd love to. I don't think I'll be watching. I'm going to bed after this. So thank you, though. All right, let's see. Downrange says, I was thinking Cruz in 2016 knew Trump would win. Days later, saw the Trump interview with Oprah about running. I've been ride or die since. I love it. Love it. Anyways. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for watching. As always, please please subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel for free. If you want to become a member, though, and get in on members' perks, including the 24/7 Discord, as well as members' lives, podcasts, stuff like that, consider joining and supporting the channel. It's only $5 a month. And listen, I give you the first month for free to test it out. That's a pretty good deal. So you can go in the description, click the link to Patreon, join that for free for your first month. If you don't like it, it's no risk. So, but if you do like it, consider staying for $5 a month, supporting the channel as I grow this. And if you're on X, watching on X, it's on the pinned post on my profile. But listen, let's pray and call it a night. And, prayer works, guys. And again, I'm a man of faith. Everything I do starts there. And prayer is how we got Trump. It's how we got the miracle of saving our country. And because God started this, I believe God will finish it using Trump, because Trump is clearly saying yes to the call. And there's I think the bullet shot was the final choice Trump had, because nobody would have blamed him for backing out after that. And instead, he doubled down stronger than ever, told the rest of us to keep fighting as well. I don't believe that anything can stop this man. So, and we're going to see it through, and we're going to see him make fools of many people again and again and again, as he's done for the last decade. So love it. Excited to watch him do that, but he needs our prayers, because ultimately God gave us Trump because the people prayed. We needed a miracle, and God, as he always does, loved to give it to us in a way that we never expected. But it's working, and that's what I care about. So, Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless these people watching, Lord. Thank you for them. Thank you, God, for just patriots and people in our country. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to be an American, a blessing. And I thank you for all of them. Bless them, Lord, and bless our president, bless his cabinet, bless his team, his entire administration, Lord, everybody on the right side fighting for this country. Bless them with protection, wisdom, and boldness in Jesus' name. Bless our country with more prosperity, peace, and justice than we've ever seen. And God, I pray that we truly do see the golden age that I heard about 10 years ago when praying with you, Lord, and that Trump himself started saying for the last 2 years. I pray we see it, and then I can give that to my kids as they grow up, and hopefully lasts long enough to give to my grandkids and beyond. So that's why we do this, Lord. So we pray for that in Jesus' name, and bless everybody here. And thank you, God, for everything you've done for us. Amen. All right. Love you guys. Have a great, great night. Appreciate you. Like and subscribe on the way out. And I will see you guys. Plan on seeing me Sunday unless something crazy happens. God bless. Good night.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight.